Okay. We should be good to go.
Perfect. I guess I'll read off that first question. The first question is about there are we've learned about different models, the Kolb's experiential Jarvis types of learning, tenets and Poxon's four levels, Fenwick's five perspectives on experiential learning. Even though they each are different, which one do you think is most useful and why? And then use like just be ready to advocate for yours.
Yeah, so for the first one, I thought the Kolb's experimental learning cycle would be like the most applicable in a classroom setting. And that's mainly because like the Kolb's model emphasizes hands-on learning, reflection, and application. So in a classroom setting, I think that's most applicable, and you can apply when doing hands-on tasks. It's like almost one-to-one to classroom setting with how you would study and reflect on stuff. You have hands-on material, you reflect on it before a test, and then you apply it on the test, for example, or like for a project or something. So I think that's the most useful model when comparing it to a classroom setting. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I could see Cole being really good. Um, I really like the Jarvis because it's like for like lifelong learning and that's fun. I feel like Fenwick also has like a really good like can be really good in terms of like there's different approaches to learning. So that way no matter what kind of like since there's no like what's it called? There's no like umbrella like catch all for like different types of learning. Like since Kolb's is for like concrete experiences um and for like conceptualization, that might not be like everyone's cup of tea for like the way they learn the best. I feel like um since Fenwick helps you learn things from different perspectives, it could also be really good for a learning environment like in a classroom setting.
I think Fenwick's like different perspectives is most relatable to this class just because like we bring all of our different ideas and thoughts together and then we have to discuss them. So that's the most when we talk about this class in particular with experiential learning, I feel like that's the most applicable or even Jarvis's, like you said, because it's still like different life experiences that we bring together. So lifelong learning experiences, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
100%.
have to agree. On this class specifically, like you said.
Um,
Um, the next one. What are the main differences between reflective practice and situated cognition? Provide an example for each.
Okay. So what I got is that reflective practice focuses on learning mainly through self-reflection,
Hmm.
whereas individuals analyze their experiences to improve what they would do in the future, like future actions or future projects and stuff. Whereas situated cognition mainly suggests that knowledge is like context dependent, so you need like specific examples, and it's usually best learned with like authentic environments. So like on the field, I think you'd learn the best. Like that's kind of what's like situated cognition. Like if you're training for a job, rather than doing like e-learning or something, you would learn best when you're actually out like on the floor, like shadowing someone or kind of mirroring them for the day. I think you would learn best. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, like
It
reflective
means.
practice. We just did a in one of my classes, we had like a group project we had to present, and then we have another group project that is due at the end of the semester with the same group that we just submit like online. But after we presented our projects, he would tell us like what we could improve or what we so we could reflect and then do the second one better.
yeah. And I think definitely like there's for like reflective versus situated, like situated is better for like learning as a whole, but I feel like as you get like finer and finer into like more fine details, like as you get better in a profession, you get from like more situated cognition to reflective because like there come like it'll be let as you get better, there'll be less things for you to be like, oh, these like this is the things you're doing wrong and it can improve on. And then it comes a time when you're like you kind of just like have to self-reflect and be like, there are these little things I can improve on, but as a whole, I'm doing good. But I don't know.
I agree. And then like situated cognition is more of like what we are, the way we think and the way we learn by because of how we were raised, our social, physical environment. Obviously, I think we've all kind of established we're more hands-on learners. We learn better when we can do it. But I also think our learning comes from how we were raised socially and culturally.
100%.
Mm. Anybody else?
Um, we definitely need to do some more because we only have done it's like 10 minutes, I think. I'm trying to think of like some follow-up
Yeah, I
questions.
guess.
I guess one would be like, which of these approaches you think would be like more effective in your field of study and why? And I'll go first. I would say situated cognition is more like I would say is more effective in my field of study just because I personally learned better from it. Um, and that's kind of like um just for me, but overall I think it would be better to help our major because a lot of the stuff we do is like solving incidents or something.
Mm.
And that's a lot of like if you were to mirror someone for a day, you would learn a lot on like specific in and outs and how to kind of present yourself when you're doing those stuff. I know you said, Nevada, that you're emailing your IT guy a lot. I'm sure
Yeah.
like if we were to like follow someone around for a day, we would kind of learn that like process a lot better than just as in like a reflective way. Because just we don't have that much experience right now. So I think that would be most effective for our field of study, and that's kind of why I thought so.
Yeah. I agree, but I also think like in the long term for like whenever you're like I might be wrong about this 100%. But I was thinking like I think for like actually learning situated cognition is better, but um in terms of like when you're in a job, I feel like it would be looked upon better if you have more of like a reflective practice as like if I feel like it gives the sense of like initiative if you're like constantly improving and all that kind of stuff. But I guess it can go both ways where I'm like, if you're constantly improving and then you're like, hey, this is what I've seen that I need to improve on, so I'm gonna improve here. I feel like that might be seen better than like, hey, I mean no, because like I guess it could be seen as like also as like taking initiative still if you're like, hey, how can I improve? What are you seeing? I guess it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's I think it's hand in hand.
I think in HR, a lot of it is cognition because you bring a lot of cultural and different social backgrounds into that, and then you have certain situations like we can sit in class all day long and talk about it, but until you're faced with like real world problems in a organization like I am daily, you truly don't understand it. Sometimes people come in here and like this happened, and I'm like, are you joking? Like who even thought that that was a good idea? Are we adults here?
Yeah, it's kind of like you learn as you're on the job almost, because
Yeah,
some of the
but you
stuff
can't,
is like you don't study for.
no,
Um,
you can't say that to the person. You
yeah,
can't. But
Yeah. I've learned in college that like the baseline for like how do I put this? Like the baseline for common sense isn't like set the same for everyone. And I'm like, and it's like it's just like a cultural like kind of like from high school to college, you learn that not everyone was like from the same area, some from the same place, and I was learning the same things. And I feel like that like is kind of like ties into like what you just kind of said.
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
for sure. Well, I think that we've hit everything, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think since it's like it's two questions, so I don't know how much we can like expand upon these two questions to
Yeah, I think we did pretty good there.
yeah.
yeah. If y'all want, I have another follow-up question if y'all want, or we can just end it here.
Okay, go.
I was just gonna say, like, how would technology kind of bridge the gap between like situated cognition and reflective passes practice?
Mhm. That's a good one because like for me, I mean, I can do basic and run my Microsoft Office and run my Adobe whatever. But like I said, my poor IT guy. I mean, and I don't know if that's like my background, like socially and culturally, we were never like really tech people or, into all that, or if it's just a lack of knowledge.
I mean, if you were to go into like a field of like bridging the gap between like reflective and like situated, I guess, how does technology like bridge it? I would think like I don't know, that's a difficult one. I was gonna say like just like learning information and stuff like that would bridge like from self to social, but like it feels like those are like two different areas that are like difficult. Like situated is like a social context, and reflective is more like self and like isolated, and it feels like those are like
Yeah.
Separate.
I was
Chat
gonna
GPT
exactly
say
is
like
like,
like using reflective practice through technology, like you can reflect on like experiences and like like using certain simulated like engaging learning experiences. So I know like in a couple of my classes, like it's becoming more common to use like tools that have AI built into it to where it can kind of give you real-time assessment. Like Packback is something like that. It's not the best, but it's an example. And then
Joe, you use Partito.
yeah, we use
oh
Cartito.
I
I'm
hate
not the
that
biggest fan of it, but that's something that
thing.
kind of I would say is like you can kind of use reflective practice through technology because
Mhm.
you're getting like a catered experience. Like when you submit it, you're getting like specific things that you should work on, and it's usually pretty harsh when it gives you your
Mhm.
score back. So, but that's something that I would think that like you can integrate technology in. I wish it made it a little easier of a grader, but
But
that's kind of
also,
I think something.
I like the fact that we can get hard. It takes kind of the weight off of your professor, or even like me and my job giving like when we give reviews, it takes the weight off of being so harsh when somebody actually needs to be harsh. So we just put it on AI.
yeah. I really like the example, but since I don't like Cartito, I don't like the example. I'm not giving Cartito any ups right now.
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
literally, I have really good email skills and penmanship. I will give myself that. And because I'm like OCD about it. And we had to write, it was an email assignment on Cartito, like explaining to someone who was like gone on a bereavement leave and who was going to take over their project, whatever.
Oh, I remember that same project.
I literally made an 11 out of 25 on it. And I'm like, what incarnation?
Hello.
I mean, he went
Yeah.
and gave us like extra credit because everybody obviously struggled, but I'm like, I literally do not know what I've done wrong.
Was that 309?
Yeah,
Are you in that right now or you took it?
I'm in it right now.
Yeah. Did he give you the 15 extra points?
Yes.
Yeah, I was so thankful for that.
I know. He is, and I hate, I don't even want to ask him a question.
Well, there's like 500 people in that group me, and I have it muted, and I just saw like Monday morning points. And it was 15 points, like unweighted. My grade went up like a whole letter grade.
Yeah, me too. I was at a B and I was like, thank God.
Yeah, it knocked me to like a 94. I was like, this needs to stay this way. Because the Cartitos are worth 50 points now, so.
But anyways, I hate Cartito. What do you use Cartito with, Will?
I've just seen other people use it, and that's good enough for me. Like it's truly like being around it and then seeing it. I don't want to be near it. I don't want to be around it. I ain't
Well,
gonna
he
give
gave
it any
rubrics
props.
now. Yeah, he gave rubrics now, thankfully. Because
I
apparently
think
you used to be able to resubmit it. Like you had multiple submissions. Like you
you
could
can resubmit it.
well, you used to, but he must have stopped it.
Yeah, when we had that like one practice one that was only 10, 15, 20 points or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that should be good.
Yeah, we're good. Well,
Um,
I mean, hopefully she posts it in a good amount of time next week and we'll just try to do it early Tuesday or Wednesday.
yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, thanks guys.
All right, you
As
have a good
well.
weekend.
You too, bye.
As well.
Bye bye.